Have you ever had a big idea? An idea so big it feels like it could change everything? That's how it started for me and my friend Paul Allen. We were just kids, really. We went to Lakeside School in Seattle. We loved computers. Back then, computers were huge machines. They were not something you had in your home. They were expensive and very hard to use. But Paul and I saw something different. We saw a future where a computer could be on every desk and in every home. It was a crazy idea at the time, but we believed in it with all our hearts. We spent hours and hours learning, programming, and dreaming together. Our friendship was built on this shared passion. Paul was a few years older than me, and he was brilliant. He could see the future of technology in a way that was truly special. I was more focused, more intense. I loved the logic of software and the challenge of solving complex problems. We would talk for hours about what we could create. We read every computer magazine we could find. We even got into a little trouble sometimes, trying to get more computer time at our school. We knew that software, the programs that tell the computer what to do, was the key. We believed software would be more important than the hardware itself. We were just teenagers, but we started our first small company, called Trafo Data. It was a simple idea to analyze traffic data for local governments. It wasn't a huge success, but it taught us so much. We learned about business, about working together, and about turning an idea into a real product. It was our first taste of what it was like to build something from nothing. Even when things didn't go perfectly, we didn't give up. We just learned from our mistakes and got more excited about the next challenge. That early experience was incredibly important for what came next. The real turning point came in 1975. Paul saw a magazine cover. It was Popular Electronics, and it featured a new computer called the Altair 8800. It was the first personal computer kit. Paul ran to show me. He said, "This is happening without us." He was right. The personal computer revolution was starting, and we knew we had to be a part of it. We made a bold decision. I dropped out of Harvard, and Paul left his job. We moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where the company that made the Altair was located. We decided to start our own company. We called it Microsoft. Our first big project was for that Altair computer. We promised its creators that we had a basic interpreter, a type of software, that would run on their machine. The truth is, we didn't have it yet. We didn't even have an Altair computer to test it on. We worked day and night writing the code on the computers we had access to. Paul even created a program that pretended to be the Altair so we could test our software. It was a huge risk. When Paul flew to Albuquerque to demonstrate it, we held our breath. He loaded the program from a paper tape, and it worked. It worked perfectly the first time. That was the real beginning of Microsoft. That success gave us our start, but the deal that truly changed everything came a few years later. IBM, the biggest computer company in the world at the time, was building its own personal computer. They needed an operating system for it. An operating system is the most important piece of software. It manages everything the computer does. They came to us. We were still a small company. We didn't have an operating system ready for them, but we knew we could get one. We saw the opportunity, and we took it. This was our chance to put our software on millions of computers. We found a small company in Seattle that had created a basic operating system called QDOS, which stood for Quick and Dirty Operating System. We bought it for about $50,000. It was a smart move. Our team worked incredibly hard to improve it, to make it better and more powerful. We renamed it MS-DOS, which stands for Microsoft Disk Operating System. Then, we made a very important deal with IBM. Instead of selling it to them for a one-time fee, we licensed it. That meant we would get a small payment for every single computer IBM sold, with our software on it. This business model was the key to our growth. The IBM PC was a massive success, and because every PC needed MS-DOS to run, Microsoft grew with it. Suddenly, our software was everywhere. It became the standard for the entire industry. Other computer makers started making IBM-compatible machines, and they all needed MS-DOS too. Our little company started to grow very, very quickly. We hired more smart people, more programmers who shared our passion. The 1980s were a whirlwind. We were working all the time, but it was exciting. We were building the foundation for the future. MS-DOS was powerful, but it wasn't very friendly. You had to type in strange commands to get the computer to do anything. It was like learning a new language. I knew that if we wanted to achieve our dream of a computer on every desk, we had to make them easier to use. We needed something that anyone could understand, not just experts. We saw what other companies, like Apple, were doing with graphical user interfaces, or GUIs. They used pictures, icons, and a mouse to control the computer. It was a brilliant idea. We knew this was the future of computing. So we started a huge project. We called it Windows. The idea was to build a graphical layer on top of MS-DOS. Instead of a black screen with text, you would see a screen with little pictures and menus. You could click on things with a mouse instead of typing commands. It was a much more natural and intuitive way to interact with a machine. The first version of Windows came out in 1985. It wasn't a huge success right away. It was slow, and there wasn't much software for it. But we didn't give up. We knew the idea was right. We kept working on it, improving it year after year. We released Windows 2.0, and then the big breakthrough came in 1990 with Windows 3.0. It was much better, faster, and more stable. Suddenly people started to get excited. Software developers began writing amazing programs for Windows. Then, in 1995, we launched Windows 95. This was a massive event. It was a complete operating system that was graphical from the ground up. It introduced the Start menu and the taskbar, things that people still use today. It made computers truly accessible to millions of ordinary people for the first time. The launch of Windows 95 was incredible. People lined up at stores at midnight to buy it. It was on the news all over the world. It felt like the whole world was excited about personal computers. For me, this was the fulfillment of our original vision. We were finally making technology that was not just for hobbyists or businesses, but for families, students, and everyone. Windows opened up a new world of creativity, communication, and information for people everywhere. It changed how people worked, learned, and played. It was a powerful moment, seeing our dream become a reality on such a massive scale. Microsoft's impact went far beyond just Windows. We created software that helped people be more productive in their daily lives. Programs like Microsoft Word for writing, Excel for working with numbers, and PowerPoint for creating presentations became essential tools for offices and schools around the globe. This suite of software, called Microsoft Office, changed how people work. It empowered individuals to create professional documents and analyze complex data right from their desks. We wanted to provide the tools that would help people turn their own ideas into reality, and Office was a huge part of that mission. The world of technology is always changing, and Microsoft has had to change with it. The rise of the internet, the explosion of mobile phones, and the new frontier of cloud computing have all presented new challenges and opportunities. We haven't always been first, and we've made mistakes along the way, but the core spirit of the company has always been about learning, adapting, and tackling the next big problem. Today, Microsoft is a very different company than the one Paul and I started. It's involved in so many exciting areas, like the Azure cloud platform, which powers huge parts of the internet, and the Xbox for gaming. Looking at Microsoft today, I am proud of its continued focus on innovation. The company is investing heavily in things that will shape our future, like artificial intelligence. AI has the potential to solve some of the world's biggest problems, from disease to climate change. It's about making technology smarter so it can help us in even more profound ways. Microsoft is also exploring mixed reality with HoloLens, which blends the digital and physical worlds. These are not just science fiction ideas. They are the next steps in the journey of making technology a more helpful and integrated part of our lives. The journey from a garage in Albuquerque to a global company has been incredible. It was built on a simple belief that software could empower people. Paul Allen, who we sadly lost in 2018, was the one who sparked so much of this journey. His curiosity and vision were essential. The legacy of Microsoft is not just about the products it created, but about the millions of people it enabled to learn, create, and connect. The future is always uncertain, but I am optimistic. I believe technology, when guided by a strong sense of purpose, will continue to be a powerful force for good in the world. The next big idea is out there, waiting to be built.